people talk all the time about in real estate. They talk about I see there's memes and people make jokes about this. Oh man, I wish I had started investing in 2008. I would have made all this money, but I was 3 years old. That's true. You probably wouldn't have started investing when you're 3 years old, but that kind of mindset of because I didn't do it then, I can't do it now is just it's ridiculous. You're already putting yourself out of the game.
Hey
So
there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?
hi everyone, I'm Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast. Today I'm here with me, just me, nobody else. There's something important I really wanted to talk to you about. This one I think is super key for the parents out there. Okay, so I'll tell you where this came from. It started with a little bit of a story. Logan turned 5, January 19th was his birthday, turned 5 recently. He has been definitely interested in numbers. He's starting to have some like information, some knowledge of how money works, but still like no no idea kind of volume, size, things like that. So he's, talks about money and he thinks, $20 might also be $2 billion. It doesn't really matter to him. He doesn't necessarily understand the difference. He'll say things like, is it this much money? Is it this much money? Is it this much money? And so, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's fun and cute, and I enjoy talking to him about it. We do. He likes to. He's a smart kid. He likes to do math. So do I. I like numbers, but he likes to do math when we are like at bath time. Just finishing up, and he'll ask me to quiz him, and we do little math problems, or we ask questions about science, things like that. That it's just fun for both of us. But so where my whole idea came for this is one day he was talking about money, and it was something that, again, I'm not even sure that the context or where he came up with this, but he said something about a cajillion dollars or you know what I mean, a non a non fiction or a fictional uh, denomination of money. And I said, buddy, what do you think? Someday, would you like to be a billionaire? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, of course. He doesn't know what it means. I know he doesn't know what it means. And so we kind of just laughed about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? And I really, it got me thinking. It got me thinking a lot about, kind of, is that possible? I wanted to think, is there a way that my kids could be billionaires? Which is like obviously big number. Do they need to be billionaires? Maybe not necessarily, but is it even possible? And so like I said, I like numbers. I started to do a little bit of math. I actually created a spreadsheet that I am going to share with you here. I am hoping that this will work. I haven't actually done this before in a podcast, but I created a spreadsheet. And basically, what I did was I said, okay, Logan just turned 5. I have, for myself, I'm 49. I probably have at least 15 to 20 more years of like legitimate earning potential. I don't really have any intention of stopping. It's not really how I see this, hard cutoff, but trying to be realistic about it. So I thought about him at age 20. So that's 15 years. And when we look at real estate, and especially we talk about this is for the record, this is passive investments, right? So passive investments, we look at it as a real estate investment. In general, on average, you can double your equity every 5 years. Sometimes it's going to be longer than that. Sometimes it's going to be shorter than that. We just had a very hot market a couple of years ago where people were doubling and tripling their money in 2 years. So that's what a real estate cycles are. It goes up and down. Sometimes it's going to take 7 years to double your money. It might take a little bit longer, but sometimes it's going to be shorter. And so I just said, okay, if I look at this and I average it out over every 5 years, we double. And I just said, if I have $10 million, I picked a round number, $10 million invested by the time he turns 20, what can happen with that? And so you can see here over on the left side, we have age. So starting at age 20 and every 5 years, and I go up to 60. You're going to see these numbers get big really fast. So by 55, he would have passed the $1 billion mark. All right. In passive investments, let me be clear. This is outside of whatever job he has, whatever businesses he starts, whatever earning he has. This is just letting passive investments ride, right? So and there's some work that goes along with it. He's got to find the right passive investments. He's got to keep that money rolling over and be smart about it. And I say he because he's going to turn 20 first. But quite frankly, if there's $1 billion for him and Ava to split to get, I'm not going to be sad about that. I won't be here to see it. Very likely, I will not be here when he is 55. It's possible, I guess, but yeah, very likely I won't be here. But so I'm sure there's going to be a ton of objections to this. I know people love to look at all the ways this can go wrong. And so the first thing that's going to come up is, well, where am I going to get $10 million? Okay. Let's be clear. I do not have $10 million invested passively right now, not even close, but I still have 15 years to figure that out. So that's a real nice goal for me to set for myself. But what if I fell short? What if in 15 years I have $1.5 million invested passively? Okay. And I would argue that this is doable for anyone. But let's just say, okay, this is if I say, I don't necessarily think $10 million is achievable in the next 15 years. What if it's 1.5, right? Now look, we're still rolling up here. Here it is at the bottom again at 60 when Logan turned 60, $384 million. Still a lot of money, right? And if you want to, you can extrapolate this out because 384 here at 60, if we started with 1.5, the doubling doesn't stop. So come over here, 320 in the same ballpark, but a little bit less. So if this was 60, 65, 70, at 70, there's still over $1 billion. Okay? So with $1.5 million invested passively for my kids, by the time Logan turns 20, that's 15 years from now, I could legitimately, easily is the wrong word, realistically achieve billionaire status for them. Okay? Well, people are still going to argue. $1.5 million, there's no way I can do it. Let's come down here. $50,000 invested by the time they're 20. That gives me 15 years to get $50,000 invested. If you would say you can't do this, you should stop watching this video or listening to this podcast. This is the stuff that is very doable over 15 years. So $50,000, that's $12.8 million by the time they turn 60. 12.8. That's still a lot of money, right? And at 65, it's 25 million, right? Just keeps going up every time, keeps doubling. And we're not even talking about their kids here, right? So the point is, and this is a simple spreadsheet, all these columns do exactly the same thing. If you want to, I'll send you the spreadsheet if you want. Just hit me up with an email, jason@larkcapital.com. We may even just put this on the website. It's simple math. You could create it yourself. But I mean, what if you were like, I can do $62,000. That's 620. Right? 15.8 million. It just calculates it for you. You don't have to, it's a very easy spreadsheet. I like numbers. because they don't lie. I'm not like an Excel wizard or anything like that. But when you look at something like this and you start to think, okay, 50,000, very achievable. 100,000 in 15 years, right? So in 15 years, can I get $100,000 invested? I sure can. 100% I know I can do that. Can I get $500,000 invested in 15 years? Now, I'm sure some people are going to start to think that that's a little bit out of their league, but let's look at this in reverse engineer it. 15 years from now is 3 doubling cycles, okay? So 15 years from now, 3 doubling cycles if we believe that if we believe this is what real estate does, and I do, 50 so in 15 years. So in 10 years, that would be $250,000. 5 years before that, it's 125. At the start of it, it's 72,500. So if I could have $72,500 to invest, that's going to just keep on rolling until my kids turn 60, it's $128 million at the end of that. I cannot tell you the things I would do to make sure I had that. I could, nothing illegal, but I will bust my ass to get that amount invested. And it's so pick a number that you think is achievable and start. The real point of all this is that you got to start. You got to start for these things to happen. People talk all the time about, in real estate, they talk about, I see there's memes and people make jokes about this. Oh man, I wish I had started investing in 2008. I would have made all this money, but I was 3 years old. That's true. You probably wouldn't have started investing when you're 3 years old, but that kind of mindset of, because I didn't do it then, I can't do it now, is just, it's ridiculous. You're already putting yourself out of the game. So the reason I wanted to make this, it's not going to be a long podcast, but the reason I wanted to make this and why I think it's so important, especially for parents, but at the end of the day, you can look at this in your life, right? If you're 20 and you're listening to this, this is you. This is your lifetime. If you're 30, you start a little bit farther up on the chain. It's still you, your lifetime. Like you can do this. If we look at, let me share that one more time. So if we look at this from 50,000, right? That's our chunk here. So we're looking at this. 50,000 is the most common minimum investment that we see in a lot of syndications and funds and things like that. So 50,000. If you are 30 and you put 50,000 in now, today, like start this immediately. So you're essentially 10 years behind this. So 2 less doubling cycles. Well, guess what? You still hit 60 with $3.2 million. And at 70, you have $12.8 million. Like, just not starting is the problem. That's all that's holding you back from retiring very, very comfortably. And as you move up this spreadsheet, the cash flow that comes off of this obviously gets dramatically bigger. So these are the things that, this is the way to live well in retirement. If you are invested in the stock market and you have this same amount of money, whatever it is, you've got to start selling those stocks in most instances to start to realize that as actual spendable money. But if you invest in real estate that's continually appreciating, you don't necessarily have to sell that to get your money working for you. So again, this is something that you just have to change your mindset around it. The reality is that we can all do this, and you've got to figure out a way to plant the seeds, but you got to plant the seeds now, because it does take time. It takes 5 years-ish to double every time. So you're not going to be wealthy in the first doubling cycle unless you're already wealthy. But you can be wealthy if you set this up and essentially put it on auto drive. I've said this before, I think on the podcast, but I've definitely said it to friends. We have life insurance policies. If for some reason I go before my time, whatever, if I go early, uh, Casey knows, and I have repeated this to her. She knows, take the money, take the insurance settlement. I told her who to go to, who to invest it with, and I said, go put it in real estate and live off the cash flow. Right? Take what you need to survive for a little bit, but take that money and get it going, and you'll be set. So uh, a lot of people like to look at this, as I said before, kind of jokingly, oh, I wish I had invested in 2009, 2010. Me too. I wish I knew this beforehand, but it doesn't mean it doesn't work now. And in fact, right now, we're in a similar recessionary type environment where it's a good time to invest in real estate and ride the next wave up. So you just got to stop. You just got to stop putting it off. I mean, I think it's really what it comes down to. Stop putting it off. Look at this as something that is going to secure your future and your family's future beyond that. People say, well, we don't have a time machine. Guess what? This is my time machine. This chart that I just showed you, I'll show it again. This is my time machine. My time machine are my kids. Because no, I can't go back in time, but they're going to live beyond me, and I'm going to teach them everything about this so that they can continue to make the same smart investment decisions as they grow. And this is completely out of sight of whatever careers they might choose, whatever businesses they might want to do. This is just set yourself up for passive income so you can do whatever you want for the rest of your lives. That is literally what it's about. And that's your time machine. That's it. Your time machine does exist. You don't have to build anything crazy. Your time machine are your kids. Talk about legacy. That's it. If you don't have kids, that's okay. There's still charities. You can do a lot of good. Okay. That's it. Like, stop thinking about it as unachievable and stop thinking about it as negative to want to achieve wealth in your life, because the amount of good that you can do is exponentially increased with the amount of zeros behind what you have to do that good. So I thank you for listening. I think, like I said, this is an important one for parents. I think it's also one, if you're listening to this podcast, jump on our YouTube channel, just check out the spreadsheet. Let me know if you want me to send it to you. Like I said, it's nothing fancy. You can do it yourself if you want. But it's very real. So check it out. Thank you again for listening. I really, truly appreciate everyone who listens to the podcast. I don't do a lot of solo episodes, but I thought this was a pretty important topic. And I will thank Logan for inspiring me to do it. So maybe he'll come up with some more good ideas for us to have on the podcast. If you like this, please like, rate, and review the show. As always, I appreciate you, and we look forward to getting more great guests on here. And thank you all for listening.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?